Hello everybody, this is Towelz. I'm playing some Diablo 3 at the moment. I've been playing it pretty much non-stop over the last few days, and it's really quite fun. And what I'm doing at the moment is going to be hard to make out just because of the amount of monsters around me. I'm showing you quite a powerful monk build. I've been playing monk. At first I played Demon Hunter, and it was completely possible to go through the content, but once I was starting to get to hell, it was really quite difficult. I could do it, it just took a lot of brain effort, and it was just really quite hard. At the moment, this character is 44, and I'm a nightmare, and it is so face roll. I could play with my eyes closed, and it's really just quite fun and pleasant. And I'm just going to explain what kind of things I'm running with this character as a monk. I don't know how monks are going to fare endgame, but definitely for leveling, they are just so much easier and nicer. Demon Hunters really do require quite a lot of, I don't know how to put it. You can survive, it's just a lot of effort and takes longer. It might be rewarding endgame, I've no idea, I haven't got there yet. Maybe someone can tell me how monks fare endgame. I'm just drinking my tea at the moment. Hope you can forgive me. So, let's talk some things and abilities. Now this is going to require you to know what the abilities' names are. You can have I recommend, if you don't know the names, then I recommend you picking up the talent calculator off Diablo and off Battle.net and just going along with me. First big tip that a lot of people do not know yet: everyone go to escape options, gameplay, click elective mode, and what this means is that when you go to your abilities, you can put them where you want. And it's just a lot nicer, a lot easier, that kind of thing, and you can get some more interesting builds. Now I run Way of the 100 Fists with the teleport rune, just because I'm lazy and I like being able to jump to mobs. Now if you're not a high level, Fists of Thunder with the Thunderclap rune is just as viable. And to be honest, all of these, maybe not Deadly Reach, I don't think this is viable with this build I'm running, but the other three are all viable to run with the kind of idea that I'm going with here. On my right click, the ability, I've changed it because with elective mode it doesn't have to be them set 3. I've put it onto Cyclone Strike with Eye of the Storm, and what Cyclone Strike does, it pulls everyone towards you, and with this rune it's really quite spammable, and it's quite a powerful spell. And you might not need 2 defensive spells in normal, but when Nightmare, it's quite handy to go for 2 defensive spells. I run Serenity on my Q with Peaceful Response, and what that does, it heals you equal to the amount of Breath of Heaven, and it's just quite helpful to have another heal. For Breath of Heaven, I use Breath of Heaven and I run the Blazing Wrath rune, and what that does is 15% extra damage for 45 seconds, and that's really quite powerful, and I try to keep that up at all times. For my techniques, on my E spell, like I said, it doesn't matter where you put it, I run Sweeping Wind, and I recommend pretty much every single monk build to run Sweeping Wind. It is such a powerful ability. Normally it will do 45% weapon damage every second while at 3 stacks. Now the rune you choose for Sweeping Wind will depend on what you're doing. If you're going through a dungeon and clearing a large amount of mobs, I recommend a Master of Wind, because it's so much easier to keep it maintained. But say you're doing a boss fight, Blade of Storm is more viable, because Blade of Storm increases it to 60% weapon damage per second at 3 stacks. For mantras, I run Mantra of Healing with the Sustenance rune, just because it's so handy to have that constant heal. With this setup, with what I've just shown you, you're virtually invincible. It will take such a huge amount of burst damage to kill you. Okay, the runes, passive skills, they're all quite interchangeable. I run Guardian's Path because at the moment I'm dual wielding, but if you're not dual wielding, then run something else. It's not that restrictive. Chant of Resonance because I like the spirit regen, and it's helpful not having to spam the mantra. And Transcendence because I like having that burst heal. This means when I use focus abilities like Cyclone Strike, I get quite a large heal. At level 44 it's healing me for 24 times 40, so a good 800 heal. Okay, now a few things that will change depending on what you're doing. This build right here, this is what I want you to be doing in a dungeon, clearing mobs. Now, I've told you already that change Bladestorm rune on Sweeping Wind if you want to be doing a boss fight. Now, Cyclone Strike isn't viable for a boss fight, it's quite good for collecting mobs, but the thing I really like taking for boss fights is Exploding Palm with the Flesh is Weak rune. And what this does, it increases your damage by 12% on the target every time you use it, and is a reasonable amount of damage. It does higher damage per click than your normal auto attack. So it's definitely worth using. And that's just, yes, your spirit dump, because Sweeping Wind doesn't require any spirit at all. Now let's just talk items very quickly. As a monk, you want to be running dexterity. Definitely have vitality on your gear, or you will be getting one hit. But overall, go for dexterity. I run green runes in all, green gems in all the possible armor slots. Now at the moment, I've got these plus 30 runes in my, plus 30 gems in my gear. For helmets, while you're leveling, I recommend a red gem in your helmet. It vastly increases the amount of experience you gain. And I also recommend, as a monk, to have red gems in your weapon slots. For those of you that don't know, gems do a different thing depending on where you put them. For example, in the red gem, in a weapon slot it will increase your damage, in a helmet slot it will increase your experience, and in another slot it will increase your strength. Green gems are the ones for dexterity. We want to put them in your armor slots, and like I said, red in helmet and red in weapons. I don't think it matters if you dual wield two-hand or one-hand and shield. I won't go into the mechanics of how they calculate your damage. Just go for generally what increases this value here, the damage value here. Shield is definitely viable, at least at this bracket. I don't know about endgame, but it does increase your survivability. Just run with what the best weapons you have at the time, and remember to change your passive if you're no longer dual wielding. I don't recommend using this passive if you're using a two-hand. I think Seize the Initiative is a very good passive, and that would be very viable to use. Okay, that's the general thing. I'm happy if you turn off now. I'm just going to run around a little bit and show you what it's like. Although I think I've bloody cleared all the mobs, so there might be some running around. So keep your mantra up, keep your Breath of Heaven up, or just apply them buffs, and apply Sweeping Wind, and keep Sweeping Wind here. And this is Nightmare mode, and I admit Nightmare mode isn't overly difficult, but for some it will be quite difficult. And you can't deny that for some people it will be genuinely really quite difficult, especially on different classes. Now, at the moment, I could play with my eyes closed with this build. My health has not gone down a fraction of a fraction, and they're dying really quite quickly. I just pull them in, and they get killed by the aura. And the auto attack that I'm using, Way of 100 Fists, has quite a strong AoE component. Now, annoyingly, I think I've cleared this whole dungeon, so I'm not going to go around making you watch me run around. But I hope this was helpful, and post any questions, because at the moment and tell me how Monk is endgame if you're there. This was Towelz, I'll speak to you later.